What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? Hop in, hop in. Welcome, welcome to the live, y'all. Welcome. Live from New York City. Welcome, welcome. Let me know if my audio is good. Eric, Machla. Welcome, brother. Good evening to you. Good evening, good morning to everyone here in the stateside. Good evening. Is it evening over there, Eric, or way early in the morning? Let me see. All right. Let me get back into this thing. Hello, everybody. Yes, sounds good as always. Thank you so much, Eric. Welcome. Thank you guys for having me. This is Lemuel. And hashtag #LemDrops. I am coming to you live from New York City. And if you want to follow me on YouTube, it's #LemDrops. And actually, I'm actually going live all day today. I'll be in Amazon live. Amazon.com/shop/memes for togs is where I will be. I know Eric is in here. And today, I want to talk today about pre-live checks. So that should be cool. I'm looking for myself on Ecamm, making sure that I am live here, and I know I am also going live on YouTube. So if you want to have your avatar come in on YouTube, please let me hop in on my YouTube space, my YouTube channel at YouTube/C/LemDrops. And today I'm going to talk to you about pre-live checks. How many of us here go live? But before you go live now I'm talking about interviews, right? Interviewees. You know, when you go live by yourself, you have your own personal checks. But when you go live with other people, it's a little bit more challenging. So would love to have people hop in. If you guys want to hop in on this live broadcast right now, let me just check. We're looking at every place we are in, making sure everything is going on. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to drop here on YouTube. I'm going to drop in my interview mode. So for those of you that want to hop in and chat with me, Eric, you're right. You know, it's important. Eric says check the settings of your guest. Yeah, I have a certain, I send my email out, or I have conversations with future guests of mine, and I kind of let them know exactly what we're doing and all those other pre-checks. But what I do is I let people come in to my stream and 30 minutes before the live. So I don't know about you. I don't know how many minutes. Can you guys drop it on the comments? How many minutes before you go live do you expect your guest to come in? I put 30 minutes for my guest to come in before I go live. Joanna says, I have an interview later. I have a bad hair day. Yeah, today I'm going to be going nonstop from here. I'm going to jump in at 1 p.m. on Amazon Live and do my memes for togs there, my impersonation of a pro photographer over there. I'm going to do that for all day, almost all afternoon at least. So I want to talk about my 10-15 minutes, you say, Joanna. 10-15 minutes. Yeah, that's what used to be my setup, 10-15 minutes. But I've found 30 minutes to be the accepted spot. Like my interviewees, when they come in, my guests when they're coming in, that 30-minute checks helps me to do several things. 30 minutes for the late ones. Yeah. My 30 minutes helps me to acclimate my guest and to allow me actually just to make sure that I'm flowing correctly with them. And also a lot of the issues that I found that even though I've sent that email they think or I think that they are good, or maybe they even think they are good. Depends. Eric says depends on the technical knowledge of my guests. This is true. If you were to be a guest in my show, I'd probably say, hey, let's hop in 15 minutes, 10 minutes will be good because I know we'll set up. But I've also found, even with my live streamer community, with my live streamer friends, I've had people come from Ecamm, also from Let's Get Live crew come in, and we've had some audio issues, and almost like right up to the live, we're working on these issues on our side, and some things are happening, especially if there's new updates or Facebook is glitching or doing all those different things, or even here on Facebook, on YouTube. Yeah, it makes it a little bit more interesting, if I should say so myself. But anyway, I want to share with you 3 things that I go through with my guest, and I'm gonna drop it into here. Yep. I'm wondering if I actually am. Let me see if I'm live someplace else. Let me take a look at my. Because it doesn't look like anybody from the other groups are coming in here, so which is strange for me. Let's see. Let us see. Am I live on different formats here? Give me 1 minute, y'all. Let me make sure that Restream has sent me. I'm using Restream right now via Ecamm. And yeah. Oh, they're still sending. Restream is still sending data. It's still sending data to my groups. Weird, yo. What is going on with Facebook? That's why I'm like, where is the Ecamm crew? Where are the folks? And they are still weird. Okay. Anyway, we'll continue streaming while Restream is still trying to connect. I am online on YouTube, but Let's Get Live and Ecamm Live and Content Marketplace is not showing up here on Restream. So, guys, if you can, Eric, maybe Joanna, if you don't mind hitting up the group and letting them know to come onto this side of the stream world. There you go. Who's coming in? Who's coming in? Joanna. How are you, sister? Let me set us up here, Joanna. All right, so look at that. You see that, guys? My Facebook is on, but it's still like looking to go live. So that is so strange. So strange. So let me bring in Miss Joanna here. All right, Miss Joanna. Hey, girl.
Hi.
What's up? Welcome to my stream. This is the first time you've gone to my stream, or first time
Yeah.
picking you up at all. How are you,
Yeah.
my dear?
I'm great. I don't have the green screen, nothing, because it was not a planned one, but
You're
I get.
good. You're good, girl. I'm just appreciative that you hop in here with me to chill
Yeah.
for a few moments. Now,
Yeah.
as you can see, Joanna just
Happy.
hopped in. Joanna, you just hopped in, so we didn't have any pre-live checks or anything. Uh,
No.
so, and I know you have an interview later, so share with us your pre-live check, because I'm gonna go through mine. Hey, Andre, one of my boys from here, Staten Island, a fellow live streamer or a fellow content creator. So let me know. How often do you go and interview people live?
It could be once a week,
Okay.
or it could be more. It depends, and because I do have a football channel, so I
Right.
interview a lot of YouTuber. Like today, I have a YouTuber that have like 8,000
Uh huh. Wow.
followers that
Yeah, that's great.
comings, and yeah, I have a lot of great guests. And the thing is, like, some tend to be very late, so I run the show, and then I just have them pop in. And the thing is, like, some I know that they need to be there earlier, and especially the first time, and I have to tell them to check the sound, check the frame,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
like if it's like too much space over there,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the quality is very important. And the thing is, like, there, once I told him to change it and we were running out of times,
Yeah.
and he didn't me till the person in the chat tell him, like, listen, you sound is too crappy, like we can hear it. So I thought it was just me. And the thing is, like, sometimes I ask people to come earlier because, when I have the countdown, you can see a part of my face. I have a circle, and what I do is that I switch
Yeah.
between me and yes and the music. So we're dancing.
Right.
So I switch on and on and on. So it's very cool. And
Yeah.
the thing is, like, if the person that you never had it before,
Right.
you have to set a rule to say you need to come at that time, and if you're not at that time, you're not going to be on the show
Oh,
because
so you're the Lola. You got the machete. Like if you don't show up on the
I
free live, you ain't coming on.
I have to, because otherwise you start your show late and you can't tell your audience, like,
Yeah.
listen, I don't appreciate you to come at a certain time. So right now I say, if you're not on time, you're gonna join in later in my life or not at all.
Mm.
And if I'm taking, and the thing is, like, if the person I know and been on my live before, I don't mind having that person jump in. But if I don't know the person, it's true. And you have to take in consideration that you do a lot of advertisement
Yeah,
before
yeah,
and
yeah,
say
yeah, yeah.
and have the guest. So when I'm not sure about the guest, I never say in my show I'm gonna have a guest till it's on the day. Say, hey, you know what? Right now I have a surprise for you, a pop-in surprise, and I see the person in the rooms and stuff like that, so I can check the sound. And before you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And
you're
you
right. I
also
mean, right,
have
that's one of the first things actually, like yourself, that's the first thing I check is the audio, making sure that there's no echo. I instruct the guests to not monitor themselves on the live stream. Have you found that to be true? Like people are trying to watch themselves and you're trying to figure out, is the echo coming from me? Is the delay coming from me? What is going on? And
from
it's
them.
our guests trying to, trying to check out themselves.
I saw the comments about Lola. Let me tell you something about Lola that no, maybe you guys don't know. I
All right.
know Lola for over 10 years now. We know each
Wow.
other in university. So I know Lola for a very long time. She's the one who got me
Yeah.
into the so I know
Into the group.
exactly how
Okay.
Lola does. And there's some things that we do
Uh-huh.
that are similar because the way Lola is, the way I am, sometimes is because we've been there before and we
Yeah.
experience things in a negative way.
Right,
So
right.
that's why you're more strict right now. That's why there's things that we say, it's not gonna happen because we've been there before
Yeah.
and we don't want that to happen. And when we give advice, it's because we've been in that spot and we've been in different groups about supporting each other. And Let's Get Live is one of the best, of course,
Right.
not advertised. But I've been in different group and we had like partners, like affiliation partner, for working. The thing is, like, Lola and I, we are not in the same niche, so we thought we cannot work well together on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. And in reality, it's false, sorry, because doesn't matter what niche you're working on, you can still work with somebody else in terms of quality feedback. Doesn't mean you can help them with the content. And but because your show is about how to help stream better,
Yep.
what I found out about eCam, you have to be prepared because if the scene is not ready, you cannot fix it during the live without having this scene pop up. So people will see when you're making a change.
Yeah.
Like you can, like, is maybe some people who know over software, like I know a lot of gamers
Yeah.
or live streamer for football games and stuff like that. They
Right.
have a separate things and they have a widget so they can work on a next scene
Yeah.
off screen. With eCam, we don't have that possibility. And this is the down part of ecam. That's why you
Yeah,
need
that
to be
that that
prepared.
is actually the boys are working on that aspect of kind of like that pre not pre but preview mode. Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
preview mode. So they are working on that preview mode. Um, yeah, so yeah, you're right. I mean, when it comes to like getting the stream corrected and making sure that you have a proper presentation for your stream online, you have to have all these things set up because there is that lack of preview. But a lot of times we, like especially new streamers or new people that are bringing in guests. A lot of times we don't realize we're not thinking about the the challenges that our guests may be facing, especially we're new. So we're talking about new streamers, right? Because this is as
Mm.
part of the Ecamm takeover. I was supposed to be broadcasting or going live on Ecamm, but it appears that Restream is not helping me today. Still sending data. It's still sending data right now. So it looks like we're just going live on YouTube. But anyway, this is fantastic content for new live streamers, for new hosters, for those that are hosting people, whether it's Ecamm or any other thing. One of the major things is getting the audio correct, because you're right. Some people will comment on your stream and be like, "Bro, what is going on with you?" Oftentimes, um, there's a cutoff. People have challenges on the audio, and so once you get on that 30-minute check, that pre-live is to check for audio. We talked about audio. I got another one for us that we check, and that is lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you could talk about that, Joanna.
I'm dark skinned and I
Mm-hmm.
have people with dark skin, and trust me, you can only see his teeth and his eyes. And I
Wow.
said that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
And like to be even more strict, this is what happened. This is what Lola, because Lola, she started doing live before and
Uh
she didn't do the 30 minutes. She did
huh.
like 1 day or 2 day before,
Okay, that's
checking,
good.
because if the person doesn't have the right thing, it means that they have time to purchase what he needs to have.
Mm,
Like, let me go to the need for live streams. And when you have a guest,
yeah.
you need to check the internet connection. You need to ask them to have an Ethernet cables,
Yeah.
because more stable. You need to ask for the lighting, and you need to do at the same time you're going to do the live, because the lighting in the day and night is not the same.
Yeah,
So you
you're
have
going to the pre-production just before you get to the guest. So we're going
no with
deeper in,
the guest,
Joanna. You're bringing
no,
us
with
deep. That's good.
no, with the guest. You have 1 or 2 days with the guest, because what you assume to be automatic is not with the guest, because the guests need to have the right setup too. Because that's why I'm saying you have some guests, but they are tasting for the live during the day, and the live is at night. And what happened is that at night you don't have the same lighting,
Yeah.
and when you're tasting at a different time, you're like, oh, but the guest is in the dark. What's going to happen? And they don't see the experience as a viewer, like we are trained to, or
Right.
will be trained to.
Right.
And this is like what that's why sometimes when you really really new and you might be stressed, it's
Mm-hmm.
best to do a few days, not go live, but just having the person pop in and checking and making sure you're comfortable to adjust. For example, have a guest is was not comfortable with having a full landscape mode. He wanted to have just verticals, and I prepare everything for the live, with different custom, and he has to be both. We were supposed to be both landscape and having, for example, the comments on the bottom. But since he was not comfortable with the landscape, because he didn't want everybody to see his room, and he wanted to have vertical,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have to change everything. You cannot do that 10 minutes before the live. You don't have time for that
Yeah.
unless you're super quick And like me, I work with Canva. Canva is great,
Yeah.
but when you do the graphics, it takes time for every little
Yep. Yep.
thing.
Yep.
So this is why I sometimes 10 minutes is not enough. So maybe having exchange with your guests on how comfortable they are, if you've been doing live before. But it's a lot of to do.
That's a
We
that's
can
a that's a
talk
good
about it
tip.
for 3 hours. We can talk about it for 3 hours.
That's a good
Like,
tip, Joanna. If you know, yeah, I know, right? That's a good tip, Joe. When you're considering, like, especially for somebody that is like, they want the overlays, they want the look, they want the fonts, they want the designs on their screen. Like for me, I'm a basic guy, right? I'm just basic, and I'll put it through, and pretty much that's like accepted norm. But yourself, your overlays, you got fonts, you got graphics, all these things. And when you're doing that, you've got to have all these scenes set up, not the day of the interview, because you will find yourself there. Now, you may have a format, and oftentimes this is, and I could hear Doc in my ear right now saying, if an interviewee is coming in and it's not, unless they it's somebody that you really must have, or somebody that you will, you really want to have on an interview. But apart from that, if an interview is coming in and they're trying to call the shots, you're the pro, so to speak. You're the one. This is your interview. And if they're saying to you, look, this is how I like it, be like, look, I know that's how you like it, but the presentation, my production, all these things, these are needed to be. What's going on, Queen D? Is this is the way I like it. And if you don't want to conform to this, obviously you're not saying it directly. This is more like Lola and maybe Joanna style, machete style, or maybe even Diana ear slicing style. All right. You're just going to say, look, we cannot do that interview unless you do it in this line, unless you do it in this line. Like, again, speaking of, if they are a person that you actually want and they are just some way decided that this is how they want to be presented and you really want them on the show, then I guess you would create new formats. But for me, if you don't want to turn your video landscape, I can fix it. I can fix it where the room disappears, where it's just you. But I need you to do this, through pan and zoom and other things that we could do on our end. But if you are rigid in the way you present yourself, for instance, if you're not going to light yourself properly, if it's not going to look good, I want you to look as good as I do, because ultimately I'm bringing you in. You're not just going for my brand, you are presenting your brand. And so as a host of the show, I want you to look as good for your audience and for your brand. You looking good is, of course, for me and for my show, but you looking good is for you. You understand? So I want you to come in here, and I don't know who's watching us. I don't know who's going to watch us 5 weeks from now or 5 years from now if I continue to have it online. And ultimately, if they see you, maybe one of your clients, and they're like, wow, really? They've been doing this for 5 years and they still look like that right now? And I don't want to be a producer of a show that knows how lighting should be and you're not properly lit, especially if I can even provide for you some ways to make it happen. Jeff, welcome, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Eric says, scene prepared in case I have to go to an interview or for Zoom with green screen, LUTs, etc. I love the virtual cam. He's talking about eCam, obviously. So, for me, lighting, we're talking about lighting here. Lighting, make sure that they are well lit and color balanced as much as possible. I check their light placement, direction, and intensity. So for me as a photographer, lighting is I love your lighting, even though you're saying, oh, I got to, I don't have my background, or I'm not set up, I'm not prepped, but you're well lit, you're separated from your background, your light is coming in from two different directions almost, so it's shaping your face, and then the background, you even have a practical light, even though that's probably just a little lamp that you're not necessarily bringing into the scene to light your scene. But even that small practical light is providing some ambient lighting for you. The light as well, I think your color tone or your white balance as well. You know, so for me, I'm like, okay, because you're a pro and you're using a camera that is not wigging out. You're not using a webcam that is like trying to
Yeah.
balance the background, trying to balance the lighting of your background with your face. Because at this moment, if you were a webcam, if you were using webcam right now, you will be underexposed and your background will be mad grainy, because it's trying to light your background with the webcam. So with all of that said, those are the things that we people that are live, that are trying to produce a live show, you've got to be aware of your lighting. And now, not all of us are in the profession of lighting people. Not all of us are in that space. But if you're going to bring interviewers or interviewees or guests, you need to have some knowledge, at least the foundational knowledge of lighting, so that your guests don't look like they're in a cave in Afghanistan trying to ask for help from the United States Marines to help them from a hostage situation, right? Or like an unprofessional mess. All right.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's very important to have all of this set up because it's good for you and it's good for your guest. And also, one thing that you didn't mention, and it's not about technical part, and I've seen it before, is that you need to tell the guest that it's your show, not his show,
That's
and there's things that they cannot do. Like it's really basic what I'm saying, and you feel like it's common sense, but common sense is not that common. And so you can have some people that think that your show is their show and saying things and advertising things on your channel, but you haven't said it before that
yeah,
you
yeah,
they're aware of it,
yeah. Yeah.
and you are waiting for the time to put it out there. Like I don't know, you and the guys will be on a big show in 2 weeks, and you haven't made the graphic yet, and they're talking about on your channel. That's a no go. So it's you might be aware, maybe aware of things that you're supposed to be doing if you go to somebody else's show, but doesn't mean that they're gonna replicate and do the same to you. So it's okay if we think you're very strict and rigid, but at least the show will be given in a good manner. And also tell them that they're not to advertise any things or say bad names, cursing, brand, say some famous brand on screens.
Right,
It's
right.
but they're part of the pre-live preset, and we don't think of it until it happened to us,
Mm-hmm.
and we're in camera, and you're like, what's going on? Oh my God, I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill him. What the hell is doing? Please, God help. And the things I don't like about Ecamm compared to other software, the green room, is that there is no chat between the guest and the host that only us can see. So what usually happens is that if we're on Instagram or Messenger or text, we are talking to a guest over there, but not in the green room to say, hey, be careful what you say, not supposed to, they don't have that feature yet. We might put it later, I hope, but for now we don't put it. So it's a
Yeah,
little
that's
tiny.
that's in that's during the broadcast, right? You can't really talk, but
Yeah.
during the pre-live checks, which we're talking about here,
Mhm.
is really we can chat with them. We can let them know what's going on. We can put them on the screen, take a look at their scene, take a look at their lighting, and more often than not, our guests are not live streamers, unless
Yeah.
obviously you're doing live stream work like yourself here, so we understand that. But our guests are just regular professionals that are out there, and if that they have no lighting software. um yeah, Eric says Ecamm said to me that this chat feature is work in progress. Yeah, correct. So that's in live, during the live, but pre-live you can talk to them, you can set it up. And I've had guests come on, and they're lit from the bottom up. You know what I mean? Like their lighting is coming up towards their face and they got shadows on their forehead, and or directly, so there's no dynamics, or they're using like a phone to go interview, which is fine, but their lighting is so such that they're backlit, their phone is trying to tone down the exposure of the back, and so bringing them in the shadows, and then there's constantly moving. So that's one of the key things that you could look at and be like, hey, looks like your window is behind you. I need you to turn around and face the window instead of you facing the wall, because a lot of times people are looking at their desk, and sometimes their desk are behind them, or they're in the kitchen or what have you, and the window is behind them. The window is behind them, and they don't understand the dynamics, or they have not really thought about the dynamics between backlit versus front lit and all those different things. So one of the things I check is to make sure your lighting is aesthetically pleasing. Make sure it works for you rather than against you, because your phone, like you said, at nighttime, if your guest is coming in at night and they have their phone set up and they're not well lit, it becomes terrible. Apart from a couple of days of pre-checks that you mentioned, Joanna, if you go on live 30 minutes before and you see some lighting situation, what are some of your recommendation when it comes to helping that person light themselves right there and then, or do you?
I asked for outdoor. Like maybe sometimes
Hey,
they don't
Preston.
need to
So yeah, go ahead.
go expensive lightings and stuff like that. So you don't you it might be just a normal lamp or some stuff they can move around the house and put it in the right position that can work. They don't need to go on Amazon and buy those
Yeah.
Elgato to light. You can do with what they have.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to ask them for a quick house tour on things they have, because they must have a light.
Yeah.
Sometimes what can do the trick is just a nightstand,
Yeah.
placed at the right place.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's what we can do is like emergency lighting.
Yeah. Yo, so I always tell them, hey, do you have a nightstand? Make sure that it's not straight towards you. Lift it up with some not library, but books, so that it's elevated. If it's one of those small light stand, then I would have them take off the cover, put in the cover. I've even had a situation where I like get a pillowcase and put it over your lampstand because it's casting very hard on your face and we need it to be softened. And so I normally do that. If it's like casting an orange glow, then I would go into my Ecamm camera effects and I would work out the color balance on my end to make sure that they look a little bit more balanced on their face, to make it look like their skin tone is they haven't stepped out of a tanning salon all full orange, so that there's a little bit of blue in the imagery so that they are balanced when it comes to their skin tone. So that's one of those things, and if it's strong, if it's weak, or the intensity, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm having a little tiny bit of connection issue right now. I don't know. Maybe it's gonna affect it. I don't know if it's from my end, but yeah, this is like sometimes the
Hey, Kim, welcome.
flimsy could help. Yeah, and you don't need to invest a lot of money, and it can actually work. And I've been doing that a lot. When I started YouTube, I didn't have all of that gear. Now I had them tiny bit. I used to have. I didn't had a really good mic before.
Yeah.
I have the one that the clip one, and I decided not to go using my MacBook Micro because you can hear the sounds and everything.
Right.
So
Right.
I started investing on the sound and the lighting because and the video, they're the basics of it.
Yeah, you're right. Like we're saying here today, is that we're trying to help our guests look their best in our broadcast. And it's not just our broadcast, but it's their brand, especially if they're coming in. You know, I've had doctors come in, I've had lawyers come in, we've had people that own businesses come in, you know, and so you're like, and you know, you just want to kind of like shout to them, be like, hey guys, I would love for you, let me help you, you know, without trying to sound like you're trying to gain their business. And you're like, please, I need to help you with the way you light, because you're probably presenting yourself in Zoom and all these meetings again so terribly. In fact, I'm going live on Amazon today talking about lighting
Oh, nice.
for live streaming. Hey, Eliane, I always wondering what her how to say her name. Eliane came in. I hope I'm saying it right, Miss Smith.
I love you.
Yeah, Jeff is talking about now Philip Hue lights, talking about the practical lighting. We're just Jeff. You know what I'm really like focused on? I'm focused on those people that are coming in, like our guests that have no idea how to light, and you know you've talked to them maybe like Joanna said a couple of days before, and you know that's the thing, right, Joanna? You can go and talk to them like 2 days, 3 days, or even a week before, and their lighting is good. You get it all set. And by the time they come back on, you're like, holy moly, what did you do with yourself? What happened? Where are you? What? Because they're not thinking about it in the way you and I are thinking about it. They're thinking about it from their own perspective. And so a week later, 2 days later, they're not thinking about your life. They're thinking about their life. You know, and now they're just trying to fulfill a schedule, and now they're back to that place. I had one time, I had a guest that her lighting was set up. I finally set her up. She was good. It wasn't professional lighting. She just used lamps. She just used all of this. And I was like, all right, next time you go live, we're going to be good. And the next time she goes live, and she's like, what in the world? What in the world where did all my instruction and where did all my leading and my guiding went? Because you look like a hot mess again. And now we're 30 minutes into, or we're 30 minutes before the broadcast, and now you have to change the rooms. Now you have to go back. And one of the things that a lot of people do, that, you know, a lot of our guests I've found, and I don't know if you found this, is they turn on the light in their room, and the ceiling light is just casting straight light down their face, and there's like shadows on their face, and they look like they look like death. You know, have you had that before?
I'm lucky in French we don't have those kind of high light ceiling. So,
Okay.
but I see me what I have is kids. Kids
Okay.
now backgrounds screaming,
So
"Daddy!"
the audio, yeah. Well, I have that now. I have that on my lives. My kid was just here in the room. I just gave them my phone so that they could play with it. But I went live with a few gurus on Amazon Live, and my son and my daughter were just all over my head. My wife was working out. My children are all the way in the attic, so I couldn't get a hold of them. So I was just muting myself every time I wasn't talking, because the kids are like, ah, they're all over my head, and I'm just like, all right, y'all, all right. So
Yeah,
let's
you
talk.
correct.
Yeah. Let's talk about the composition. I think you mentioned it also. Concerning composition and how people put themselves in these spots. So talk about it a little bit. When we talk about composition, we're obviously talking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about the camera framing, right?
Yeah, and also what I tell people is the same about picture. If the camera is too low, you tend to look fat. So the
Yeah.
higher the camera is, but you cannot look at the screen like
Right,
this.
right.
But like the higher it is, it kind of makes you lighter. So I'm tall. Like I think in English is like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, you are
So if
tall. Wow.
So if you're like very short and you want to take a picture of me, say, put your arms up so I can look better.
What you know what? These selfies, the selfies that people focus. My light keeps changing. I'm in New York, and the shade. I'm in the shade, and the clouds are coming in and out, and I'm all like wiggling, tweaking my lighting here, via my phone and not my phone, my camera, and Ecamm here. But yeah, the selfies people take are normally this way, right, Joanna? They normally go like this because when you are shooting from top down, uh, it slims your face a little bit. From when you there are people that have their camera like right on their lap or on their table if they're going through the iPhone, or maybe they're going through like their camera on their laptop, right? And the laptop is like angled up, and you could see all over their nose, right? You can see their, and so that's one of those compositional things that you do pre-check when you are having interviewers or guests coming into your live. You have to check the composition,
Yes,
you know, and
I agree with that.
yeah, and one of the
Okay.
things that I normally, and it's fairly simple, is to make sure that the camera is either angled up to your eyes or just a touch up, just above your eyebrows, and then tilt down, looking towards your face.
Like if this is the lens of my camera, if I look at my eyes, you see it's slightly over here,
Yes, same
and
here.
this because I have to because I had a lot of problem with framing, and I'm going to talk about a lot of people are not skinny because I'm not skinny at all, and I'm not so comfortable in my waist, so I have more problem finding the right framing. So I don't look too fat. So for interview, for example, I never stay still like this. I like to be a little bit on the
Ah,
side, but
look at
not
that.
arms and
Yeah.
stuff like that thinner. And I try to cut part of my body and have my arms going more like this. So
Are you?
because it's
Do you have photography? Do you have photography as a background?
no,
You
it's
see,
just because I did a lot of media because I was working with the media teams and video producing a couple years ago, and I learned a lot because I was a journalist, and I got a lot of tips, from that. That's why I'm more comfortable, on YouTube because we're doing like meetings with over 100,000 people and have people on screens. And I was working from the production to actually set up the show. And I heard a lot of people having problem with their physical attribute and say, I don't want you to shoot me like this.
yeah,
I don't
this is
like that
real
shooting.
life, right? Because people say,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're shaming people." No, we're this is the real talk. You know what I mean? We want to present our guests the way they want to be represented, and one of the things that you were sharing when it comes to posing, really is part of the framing, right? And you just mentioned it. You could hide certain parts of the body. You could make them turn and look this way. That's all photography. That's all angling. And
Yeah.
I didn't even consider that, but that was great because I was just considering my guest making sure that the camera or the phone is elevated, and looking down so that the framing is a lot better for the face. But you went a step above and be like, look, if some people are not comfortable or don't want their imagery presented a certain way, these are some of the ways that you can actually make it that the because ultimately you want the guests to be comfortable, right?
Mm. And makeup too. And trust me, men have to wear makeup too. Because if they have a skin that they tend to be kind of woolly and with the lighting is worse, we need to use powder. And a lot of before COVID, a lot of journalists when they do interview, they bring a little bit of makeup, even if they're doing male interview. So to have the powder, it kind of remove the excess of the wall and stuff like that. So when you have guests, tell them that they're gonna be sweating maybe in front of the camera. Tell them you need to have some glass of water nearby so they don't get too dry. There's a lot of tiny things. That's why I say this live could take 3 hours because what the number one thing you need to do is make sure your guest is comfortable. And when your guest is comfortable, he's gonna be easier for the guest to talk and helping you having a great show. But if the guest, for example, he's afraid, he's shy, and he's thirsty, he's starving, and the show is too long. You're not providing any break, so you can go to the restroom. If you're doing a 5 hour stream live with a guest, it's gonna need to have some breaks. So what you have to do is, for example, to keep the show going, make a short video of 3 minutes. Say that's the time you can take a bathroom break. It's like it's in yeah. You have to to have those kind of tips, and this is all part of the preset. But if you're doing just a 20-30 minutes live, there's no such worry. But for a very long live, there's this thing that need to take in consideration. And I told the
That's
guest
some good stuff.
that if they want to drink, for example, a Coke, they cannot have the can. They
Mm.
need to put it on a different container because I don't want to see Coke on
Well,
my
you're
stream.
really talking about like TV production. Is that the same for YouTube or for Facebook? Not necessarily, right?
No, this is for my life. For my life, I'm very strict. I say I don't want any brands showing on my YouTube because YouTube, I love it. But one thing you have to know, the rules change all the time. So
Mm.
what's okay today might not be okay tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
So try not to add things that later on could be a problem.
That is amazing pro tip, girl. Wow. Yeah, because I've never even thought about it that way. But you bringing in production, your production experience here, and you're right. That makes sense because one day they say, okay, everything is okay. You could drink whatever it is, but then tomorrow, Coke may be suing them for allowing their content creators to show product without them getting paid.
Yeah, you never know what happened. And like now, since we have a new rule of YouTube that some monetized channels, sorry, could have some ads. So this was not done before. So you see, YouTube is changing every day.
Yeah.
Facebook is changing every day. So we have to be prepared. So I'd rather be prepared than being sorry.
So good. Prepared and sorry. I like that. So let me go into the last segment. Last segment. And really, I use the pre-check, pre-live check, to also bring energy, to get conversation going, provides the chat that really kind of gets my guests, especially those that are not comfortable or those that are not used to going live. Because I interview a good amount of people that normally are not in the spaces. They're
Mm.
leaders, pastors, or what have you. They go live without necessarily having to have conversation, or having to have a back and forth interview. And so they're getting all nervous, and sometimes they see us live and they think, oh, they're bigger than life, right? Oh, here's Lemuel. People know him, and now I'm nervous. And so the chat allows people to get comfortable with you, get comfortable with the exchange, get comfortable with the camera or with getting live. And it builds up the energy because you bring it also. They're feeling your vibe, they're feeling your energy. And now they're forgetting about themselves. They're forgetting about who they are or where they are. All now now they are in the position of just having conversation. And the pre-live actually allows for that. Have you seen that to be true, Joanna?
Yes, I do that. I do that for my live and I do that for the interview that I record, like a little bit of joke, to ease a person, for example. Um, when you start asking questions and you see they're not comfortable, start with a joke. I say, true or dare. And you're like, what? I don't think it was what we're supposed to talk about. So they start laughing.
Yeah.
And once you have the first laugh, you can stop the show because there's stress. You need to remove the stress because the viewer will see the stress. And the viewer need to think that both of you or all of you, because you might have one, two, three,
Yeah.
four,
Hmm.
four, yes, are all professionals and, have a lot of good vibes.
There's some
That
good
me.
stuff. I found that when I'm doing all these, like the audio check, the lighting check, the compositional checks, when I'm doing that, because I'm giving them all affirmative, right? Affirmation. Wow, your audio sounds great. Oh, that sounds so much better. And then when they go with lighting, yeah, look at that. Look how light, how just turning around has made you look so much better. Did you see that? Do you like? And all of a sudden they're kind of like, oh, look at they're in this place of amazement that their imagery could be better, than what they're already presenting. And so I'm telling them that, and I'm telling them about the framing. Put your eye, take your phone. Do you have this? Now it does add a little stress on them for the pre-live, but it's a different type of stress rather than the conversation itself. So by the time they come on to have conversation, I've affirmed them, I've changed it up, and they know that I have made them look a certain way, and that. Thank you, Chris. Chris says great content as always, bro. Thank you. That I've made them look a certain way. That also I am there for them, so that I'm not here for you, or rather, I'm not there for me to get props or to make myself better. I am there for them. So all these pre-checks have made, at least for me, I've found that I've made my guests feel like I have the best intention for them, right? And because of that, then the conversation, I found it to be more robust, more relaxed, and they're not so tense.
Exactly. And also, I'm not saying that to overdo it, but tell if it's a lady, tell her she's pretty. I
Yeah,
know
that's what
it's
happens. Like when my lighting, I'm like, wow, you look so fantastic. That lighting is so good on you. And they're like, yeah, oh, great. Look at that framing. So, did you see that? Oh, man, that looks so awesome. So, there's a lot of affirming words. I think you just mentioned it, right, Joanna?
mm,
Be complimentary. Affirm your guest during the pre-live. Let them know they're going to do great.
mm. And then you trust them and you believe in them. So it's like a kid, a kid who's gonna have an exam, and you need to give him some power or some placebo pills and stuff like that. This is how I'll say it's like a speech and motivation. And me, I have one thing that I have to add every time I do a live. I didn't to do it today because he's by me resting,
Uh,
but I always say, be careful. I have a cat, so he might jump on the screen and do something crazy. But he's just by me and he's just like resting and sleeping by me.
it's
I have a cat.
chilling today. The cat's chilling today.
Yeah, yeah. But like for example, when he's like 30 minutes live, I can manage. But when
Mhm.
I had a live on Ecam with the girls, and those live is like 2 3 hours recap vlogmas. I have to warn them. My cat was showing on screen. I know that it had to. My cat cannot stay still for 3 hours. So if you have, if you're gonna be a guest or and you have to warn them, but you have some kids, so the person could be prepared. And what I like is that I can mute my guests when they don't do it, and they have the kids start screaming. I just mute them. Yeah, and you can, because what you don't want on screen is like a guest with like this and turning the head and it's like, Thomas, stop doing this. It's like that's not cool.
Yeah, Kim says this is helpful. I want to have guests on my channel. I'm trying to find ways to help them with their nerves. Yeah, girl, I think Kim, if you just be yourself and have them come in 30 minutes before and just kind of run it. Now, Joanna says she does 15 10 minutes. She does have a pre-check, like my kid is coming in now. She does have a pre-live a week or 2 week a week or a few days before the live, to check that out. But I've found even if you've had your kind of pre-production work with your guest a few days before, when they come on, a new nervousness is on them because they know it's the day of. So all the things that you shared with them, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, is now out of their minds. They don't even remember what you said. So now it's a whole new different ball game. And these pre-checks will allow you to do what? To give your energy, to set the energy level, to set your aesthetic level, how you want it to look. And then also set your expectation for the live, because you're telling them we're looking good, and then give them affirmation so they feel good about themselves. So that's what the pre-lives do, apart from the imagery aspect of it, but the emotional and the mental and even the spiritual aspect of it is addressed during the pre-live.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter if you did the preset weeks, a few days ago. On D-Day, you need to ask them to be there on time. And they were super late kind of people. Give them a fake time. Because it happened.
Yeah. Oh, and thank you, Joanna. Thank you for hopping in. That's our live, y'all. That's what we wanted to talk about. Just the pre-checks. Want to invite everybody to come and join me on Amazon. I think I have it here, but Amazon.com/shop/memes for togs. Let me bring that up because it's hiding underneath my camera here. Yeah, my camera. Here it is. Amazon.com/shop/live.
Did you pin the comment too? Like you can write a comments in the chat and pin it.
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. Right here. Let me do that. Thank you, Joanna. Amazon.com/shop/memes for togs. And I'm going to put it in there. And let me see now. Pin that message. Also, so that's on there. Guys, hop in. I'm going to start at 1 p.m. I'm going to go all through the day. I'm just going to be talking about lighting. So it's going to be the same, but it's going to be 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m. It's going to be pretty much the same throughout. But Joanna, man, I appreciate you so much for hopping in.
It's okay. And now I have to finish prepping my life.
You are amazing. So we're going to close it out. Thank you guys so much for joining us, Kim, for Chris, for Eileen. I'm sorry. For Eileen, for Eric, even for Miss D coming in and just showing some love. We'll talk to you guys later.
And don't forget to like this video and share it.
There you go. And can you share them your site too, Joanna?
Yes, I can. I will put it. No worry. But
yeah, put it in the comments there.
I will put it on the comments, but it's Joanna Swan. This way is very easy, but I'll put it in the comments or after the video is done, or I'll put it on the chat, whatever. I can do.
Fantastic. Everybody, once again, thank you all. Joanna, I appreciate you jumping in. Unfortunately, Restream has not yet reached the other group, so I was gonna go on Ecamm. I was supposed to go on live. Let's Get Live and the Content Marketers Cafe, but alas, we are only here on YouTube. But until next time, everybody, we appreciate you. Peace.